Yeah.
They couldn't hide this game.
Okay, this is weird. We have two high-profile AAA games, both of them reviewed well.
Mega Bonk and the Doc Tarkov. That's what he's talking about for people who might not know.
Both of them struggling to find players and sales, which has critics scratching their heads wondering why, and all the while...
I mean, the games that succeeded, that technically on paper shouldn't have succeeded. Mega Bonk and Doc Tarkov. That's what the topic is going to be about. Sorry, I should have been more obvious with what I'm saying.
While that's happening, yet another indie game has come from the top ropes and just bodied everybody. What's really weird about this is that nobody's talking about it. You can barely find anything on this game, yet more and more people keep finding it and playing it and loving it. It's a single...
I wouldn't say that's true about people not talking about it. It's one of the top categories for a long time on Twitch. And at least the channels I follow, they're all talking about it. I don't think it's true with that no one's talking about it. So many people are talking about it.
Single player, yes, a single player extraction shooter named Escape from Duckov. Can you guys guess where it got its inspiration from? This game has continued to grow day over day to the point it is now battling for the top 5 most played games on Steam, switching spots with Battlefield 6 at any given moment. A game, mind you, that was made by 5 people and cost less than $20. Are they not seeing the pattern here? I think this game highlights just how disconnected much of the industry is from its audience, especially when it comes to what kind of games to design, because these guys are just so focused on multiplayer, so focused on live service. Man, do they want that money. And all they're doing is just ignoring single player audiences and casual audiences.
Yeah.
But you have a game like this and a team like this that discovers a...
Okay, I'm not necessarily gonna say they're ignoring the casual audience. I do feel like a lot of games that are coming out, they are more catered to the casual audience, and there is nothing wrong with that. But I do think they're putting too much emphasis. Let's impress the investors with every single pore on the skin and every single hair follicle, rather than actually thinking about, hey, what should be the gameplay? I think what's happening right now, a lot of studios are forgetting the actual fun and putting the actual gameplay in the game. That is what's so crazy about this. How do you forget the gameplay in the game?
Far more addicting and satisfying loop by taking a game that's traditionally multiplayer and making it single player. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about why 2 major AAA games are struggling to find players right now, how the industry needs to stop ignoring the biggest player bases in the world, and how a game about ducks is a lot more than meets the eye. The more I play this game, the more I keep asking, what is this? Thank you to GameLoft for sponsoring today's video. Asphalt Legends is a free-to-play arcade racing game you can play literally anywhere. PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox, PC, Switch, even on your phone, all with cross-platform progress. Right now they're hosting the Ferrari Esports Asphalt Series, a global competition where players from all over the world will be racing for glory and a spot in the grand finals at the Ferrari Museum in Maranello, Italy on November 16th.
It looks nice, but it's a Ferrari, so it's like, eh.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah, what's crazy?
That game started out as a mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they kept releasing Asphalt games,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's one of the biggest. That's pretty cool.
Also, keep in mind, he's not talking about every single person, that every single person is a casual player and every single person is enjoying this game, or every single person is not enjoying the AAA, I almost say gunk, the AAA games. He's talking about that majority of people are leaning more and more towards these just fun little loop, casual gameplay stuff rather than AAA slop. He's not saying every single person. Just want to underline it because honestly, the kind of comments we sometimes get is really devoid of logic.
You can even watch the live stream on the official Asphalt YouTube channel at 9 p.m. GMT +2. And the best part, you don't even have to be a finalist to win something. Just by registering, you'll instantly earn 250,000 credits, 250 tokens, and get a shot at exclusive prizes like an HP Omen gaming laptop. The limited time event runs from October 27th to November 3rd, so jump in now, race behind the wheel of a Ferrari, and see how far your skills can take you. Download Asphalt Legends using my link and register for the Ferrari Asphalt Series at FerrariAsphaltSeries.com before November 3rd. Again, that's FerrariAsphaltSeries.com. Get in, register, and hit the track. A popular discussion that I've seen pop up recently is how two of the most talked about releases this season, Ninja Gaiden 4 and Outer Worlds 2, are both struggling out of the gate. These are not low-profile releases. They reviewed well. Both of them landed in the mid to high 80s on Metacritic, and yet Ninja Gaiden 4 only peaked at 11,000 concurrent players on Steam, while Outer Worlds barely cleared 10,000
Ninja Gaiden was also really dogged on by content creators for being too hard.
in early access, 3,000 less than Avowed, which could foreshadow.
So I played both. I played Ninja Gaiden 4, which I had a lot of fun, but I did tell everyone who was watching me not to buy it because the performance is not the best and to wait for it to be on sale. As for Outer Worlds 2, also played it and streamed it, and I've point out blank told people not to buy it because it's one of the most boring games I have played in a long time. It was so freaking boring. Not even on discount, just don't buy it.
An even weaker launch for that game and some serious fallout for that studio. When someone asked what went wrong, I summed it up on Twitter saying, fun fact, if you bought all of the biggest releases in the past 2 months, you would have spent almost $700. Just the AAA ones, $420. Just the indies and remasters, less than $100. Players cannot survive.
The game I'm having the most fun with in the past half a year, the most fun with, Marvel Rivals, which is a free game to play, Red Dead Redemption 2, the game that I had in my library for years and never had the time to play. And I got it on, 90% off when it was on sale. I think that's it. Those are like from the top of my head, the first games that popped in my head that I'm actually having genuine fun. And Power World 2. It's like the game that I'm having genuine fun where I just want to go back to it even off stream, not just for content, just in my free time. Like I'm looking into figuring out free time just to play it.
These prices or the volume of these games, neither will these companies. The real problem that we're running into is that all these publishers stack their release calendars trying to dodge out on Grand Theft Auto 6, and now they're all just colliding with one another. Too many games, too close together, all costing far more than anyone can justify because, I mean, let's be honest, nobody's going to be picking up $6, $70 games in 2 months. Most people are going to grab one, maybe two, and that's about it. Adding another one on top of that just doesn't make any financial sense, especially when every single launch is feeling like a gamble on whether or not it's good or whether or not it even works at all. I mean, it's not like people are buying these games based off of
In the past half a year, the amount of times I've experienced a viewer saying, well, I already bought this game, so I'm going to just watch you guys play this game because I don't want to spend $70 on it. I'll just watch a content creator stream it rather than spend money on it. And it's most of the time, it's like a game is not even worth the money.
Critic scores don't matter. People don't trust them anymore. There's too much built-in bias, too much inconsistency. These scores rarely reflect the real quality of the game, so when something launches, these players are going in blind, and when they're already strapped for cash, it's not like they're going to take a risk unless that game is affordable and it's something they are absolutely sure is fun. The only assurance that exists for a lot of players today is seeing it for themselves or hearing from friends. And that's exactly how we ended up here with yet another indie game blowing up out of nowhere despite all of these high-profile games failing. Escape from Duckov is a single-player spin on Escape from Tarkov. It launched back on October 16th with around 30,000 players, and at the time of recording this video, it has already passed over 300,000 players with no signs of slowing down. Those are numbers that we usually see for multiplayer hits, not single-player games, but this game is breaking every expectation. I swear, this is one of the most deceptive, accessible, and absurdly well-built games I have ever played. Despite how it looks, every single system in this game feels like it was assembled with surgical precision. The shooting, the looting, the pacing, it all lines up perfectly. The extraction...
And it's cute little ducky. It like checks every single box. The fact is that they went with the whole escape from Duckov joke on Escape from Tarkov. And the fan base of Tarkov is already pissed for years now. And the only extraction shooter we were promised was Marathon, which is a hot pile of shit. Which is, by the way, which they're kind of hiding now. This is the only fun extraction game out there right now. So it just all the cards are in the favor of the little duckies. Hail the little duckies.
Action and discovery loops are some of the most satisfying that I've ever seen in what's usually a multiplayer format. At its core, the game is basically Escape from Tarkov, but it's the way that you always wish that it would play. You start out with one NPC at your base that gives you tutorial quests. You then drop into the first area, hunt for loot, fight off enemies, gather materials, food, water, building supplies, everything you need to be able to expand your base. As you finish the quest for that first NPC, you start finding others out in the world. Back at base, you're building crafting benches and shops, which unlock even more NPCs. And suddenly, they're all giving you their own quest lines. Every one of them is feeding into your exploration, what you can craft, what you can buy, and how strong your character becomes. Crafting and gunplay feels shockingly good for something that's basically a top-down twin-stick shooter. Weapons have real spread, recoil, fire rate, and damage values, all of which can be modified with attachments. Earlier fights are...
That's funny. This game has already more detail and in-depth mechanics than most AAA games these days. That's actually really funny. Well, in Outer Worlds, I kept struggling with my one true nemesis, water. My toe touches water, I insta-die.
rough, brutal even in some cases. But as you learn the rhythms, how to dodge, when to take cover, what enemies you can rush, and which ones you can avoid, it all starts to click. If you die, you can always get one shot to go and recover your gear on the next run. And even if you lose that, well, that's fine. There's a safety net, boxes at the start of each raid that are stocked up with basic weapons to make sure that you never feel defenseless. Now, something that I really love is that as you continue to play the game, you're going to earn experience and materials that you're going to be able to spend on trainers. These guys let you unlock skill trees and passive upgrades that boost your base stats, making the earlier zones easier while still keeping those late game areas tense and punishing. It nails that power fantasy so well, that feeling of growth without ever losing any of its edge. Exploration. Now, that's something that completely blindsided me. It pulls straight from Dark Souls. As you push deeper into some of these zones, you're going to find keys, and those keys are going to unlock permanent shortcuts, doorways, and extractions. You can blow open new pathways with explosives or activate teleporters to link areas together. The more you explore, the easier it becomes to navigate, and the more the game just continues to open up. I swear this game is like a nesting doll of content. Every layer hides another one behind it. Every single system is
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this game has more layers. It's more thought through than AAA games. This is why people will have fun with this for a very long time. It actually has a gameplay mechanic rather than, hey, go from point A to point B, talk to person C, and see if he gives you the items for person Z, which you also need to get items Y, W, and K. Here, you actually have to do things. And when you do things, you unlock more things. And you go shoot, and you customize your gun, and you have different recoils, and you have different perks, and you level up this after you. Anyway, it's actually, you actually get gameplay with your game. Crazy.
feeding into the next. At first, I thought the entire thing was just limited to the starting zone, maybe one or two areas at max. I hit the warehouse area and figured, okay, that's probably the end, but no, then I unlocked the farm town, a zone that is easily 5 times as large as the last.
Like, I can see myself sinking a lot of hours, maybe not necessarily on stream, but sinking a lot of hours off stream in this game. Just like, oh, when I'm like having my morning coffee, or when I'm waiting for the laundry to be done and I just need to kill some time. I can see that 100%. Easy to get into game and easy to follow game with some complexity that makes you feel like there's like a reward at the end for finishing that something complex.
Filled with roaming bosses, armored enemies, and then I got murdered by an arcade machine, and then I realized
Damn.
there's still 2 more zones after this. I just sat there thinking to myself, how big is this game? I am 20 hours in, and I feel like I have barely scratched the surface. I'm just sitting here in disbelief. I just don't get it. The design of this game is so deliberate. Every piece of it, the way that you upgrade, the way that exploration flows, how attachments meaningfully change your weapons, how your weapon choice changes your playstyle, how loot placement starts to make sense the longer that you play. Every single system feels so intuitive, layered, and deliberate. One minute, I'm clearing rooms feeling like I'm a god. The next, I'm hiding behind a wall, clinging to my own life, praying that I don't lose everything, and then I probably do anyway. The difficulty that you would expect from a game like this is absolutely there, but it never feels punishing. The entire game scales so naturally, and when you fail, it's still fun to climb back. Unlike Tarkov, extraction shooters really haven't broken through yet, even though this industry seems convinced that they are the next big thing. I definitely don't think they are. Tarkov might be popular, but it's still niche, and to be honest with you, much of that is still self.
Well, Nikita definitely makes sure that the amount of players they have, he makes sure that they get beaten with a stick. Like once in a while, just to keep the fear in them and the resentment towards the game. I feel like a lot of companies who did try their crack out like extraction shooters, it just a lot of them don't really understand that you kind of have to put the fun into the game as well. And I also do remember there was another company that did want to make an extraction shooter, and Tarkov kind of went after them for copying them. I'm trying,
Oof.
yeah, I'm trying to remember which game that was.
All I know is that when he's talking about like Escape from Duckov,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, wow, it just sounds like a this is me, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
play a lot of indie games.
Yeah.
This just sounds like a standard indie game to me.
Yeah. Like for example, there was another game that had way more complexities than I expected, and I even told Zen to like look into it. Night Swarm. I showcased it when I was showcasing indie games. Night Swarm, it has way more complexity to it than I even expected it to have. And it has like a free demo right now. I'm like on a kick of checking out games, like indie games, especially if they have free demos, to check if I'm gonna enjoy it. Some of you might remember this. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Free to play right now since it's not out, it's just a demo. Heavily recommended.
Young vampire is back.
Building never ends. Hi, you alright?
So that definitely up on my list of indie games. I didn't expect anything, and I actually am having fun. Anyway.
Inflicted. The cheating problems, the broken promises, the rug pulled features quietly moved into pricier editions. It's ridiculous. Their whole monetization model is basically just selling quality of life back to the player, extra stash space, better trader reputation, access to more of the game, prices that are ranging anywhere from $50 to $250. None of it essential, all of it fueled by greed. But beyond that, I don't think that extraction shooters mix well with casual audiences. They punish anybody who has a job. If you only have a few hours a week, if you die, lose everything, it's going to take you weeks to recover. Meanwhile, the players who are still playing the game keep getting stronger, widening the gap until the wipe resets everything all over again. It's just so damn exhausting. I feel like Duckov is the Tarkov that I've always wanted, and it was only for under $20. The lack of multiplayer in this game is not a flaw. I think it's the reason why this game works. By stripping out the competitive pressure, they made this entire genre more accessible, more satisfying, and replayable in a way that Tarkov and none of these other games ever will. And I really think that this game is.
Can I also underline that, like, from an aesthetic point of view, like how the game looks, it does look very pleasing and easy on the eye. It looks like simple without being like too like poly triangle, low poly look. It actually does look very pleasing.
Cracked into something that the rest of the industry has slept on. Everybody is chasing competition, chasing live service, chasing permanence in this industry. And in doing that, they forgot the simplest part. These games are supposed to be fun to play, not
exactly. And this is why I keep on saying all these AAA companies, they keep forgetting to put the gameplay in the game. That's why they're not fun. It's like sometimes it feels the same amount of chore to do the quests in AAA games, same as doing like a monthly report at work. It just feels a pain of a level of doing a freaking spreadsheet. Where's the fun? There is none.
exhausting to survive. I really think that this game is tapped into something special because back when I first bought Escape from Tarkov, the PvE side of the game is what sold me on it. That's what I was looking forward to the most. I guarantee there's a lot of other people that feel that way, and it took a.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who got into it only because of PvE. I personally got into it because of the PvP servers, but I did play PvE, and I don't know. At first, my first experience with it was not the best. but that was because of the people I played it with. And my any other experiences after that was literally, why do I keep doing it to myself? Once it blue screen my whole setup, I had to switch my setup, which was so depressing. Other times, it would randomly crash and I would get domed. Then I would spawn and all the bots are ready at my spawn, so I get killed instantly the second I load. Then I have to do a scav run. I'll load into the scav run with one of the worst guns, and I die right away. So my PMC is damaged. My scav has a cooldown, so I have to sit and wait there with my dick in my hand, like just standing there waiting until everything is resolved, so I can maybe attempt another run. That maybe I'll find a GPU I can sell and make some money off of it. I don't remember a single time where I genuinely had fun with Tarkov. And I played it a fair bit, which by the way makes me now question why did I play it in the first place? If I felt like Tarkov is making me so miserable, why did I play it? It kind of makes me more question myself.
A long time for it to come out, and when it finally did, well, they shoved it into the unheard of edition. The only thing unheard of was how much of a ripoff that was, because they got rid of the Edge of Darkness edition and pretended like they never promised us anything in the first place. Fuck you, Nikita, and I cannot wait to see you try to pull that bullshit on Steam.
Another hater of Nikita. I love this. Oh, I hate Nikita so much.
Now here I am getting exactly what I wanted from this game, and I'm getting it for a fraction of the price. It's far more accessible, fun, and it's not even close to as exhausting. And I mean that on both fronts. I mean that both on the gameplay side, but also on the price side. I brought up how you would spend over $400 on new releases. That was just me talking about the most high-profile ones. There was a ton of games that I left off that list. It would easily total up over $700. Nobody...
Like, the reality is, it does kind of start to feel like you need to get a second job to just maintain your hobby of playing games. The constant upgrades, for some reason, these companies expect you to do to your PC. The constant prices going higher and higher up, and then they will change everything behind a paywall of DLCs or subscription services. It just feels like you have to have like a 9 to 5 by day and drive like Uber Eats at night. At that point, you won't even have time to play games anyways.
can afford that. Not right now, probably not ever. There's just too many games in too high a frequency at too high of a price. And while some of these games are going to succeed, more and more of them are going to fail. And I think that we're seeing that right.
Wait, it's the first time I hear him talk like that? Because that's what Nikita does to you. You get mad. Even the most calmest person, you get mad.
Right now. Look at all the positive reception that you're seeing around Ninja Gaiden or Outer Worlds 2, but it's not moving the needle. People aren't buying the game. $70 requires you to think about these games in a lot of cases. And right now, the players are thinking,
well, Ninja Gaiden is also day one on Game Pass, which is free. Like, you pay, obviously, a monthly subscription on like the basic Game Pass, but beyond that, you don't have to actually pay for Ninja Gaiden. But with Ninja Gaiden, there's another problem. You need to have a stronger PC to play it. Same with Outer Worlds 2. But on top of that, Outer Worlds 2 is boring as all frick.
I'll wait for a sale, or they're just not going to buy the game at all. Now, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but when you have a game that is only $18, you can now, without hesitation, listen to one of your friends recommend you the game, or you can see the game online, you can see it in a YouTube video, and you can go buy that game without even thinking about it, regardless of how niche that game is or how goofy it looks on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I find really interesting...
But a lot of games that look goofy on the outside end up generating the most fun to play with.
Yeah, and also, you know what's funny too?
Mm-hmm.
The publisher is Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yo, they popping off, guys. Core Keeper. Ooh, that's a good one.
I wonder how many people actually know what Billy is.
Also, I looked into their other games that they released. The game that they released previously, Soda Crisis, was pretty well received too.
Best thing about this entire situation is that with all the success that this game has already achieved, with the audience that it's captured, there is near media silence across the board when it comes to this game. Nobody is talking about it. The only outlets that I have seen are discounting and they're backhand discounting the game's success because the people that first supported it and the people that made it are Chinese. We have seen this exact scenario play out before. Back when Black Myth Wukong launched, it broke Steam records. It sold 10 million copies in its first week, yet every major headline ran with the same qualifier. It's a major hit, but in China, which always felt like it was just downplaying the game's success. I never understood why this was relevant. When a Western game blows up, nobody stops and
A gamer is a gamer. It doesn't matter what continent the gamer is from. It doesn't matter what language the gamer is speaking. Dare I say, it doesn't matter the shape of the eye of the gamer. A gamer is a gamer. And every game journalist outlet, every game studio should understand and not throw away a gamer just because. And look what Black Myth Wukong did. Yes, it's a Chinese game, which, by the way, what of it? But it wasn't popular only in China. People loved it in Europe, in US, Southeast Asia, because a good game is a good game. And I never understood why they were pushing the article like, oh, it's a good game, but it's Chinese. Oh, it's a good game, but it's only popular with the Chinese audience. Why does it matter? It's, oh, this game is popular, full stop. This is such weird narration pushing.
It also really stems from the fact that when it comes down to like playing a game that's mainly for like a specific audience, like a different country, and the main audience is that country, it feels different. Don't get me wrong, like how do you guys would think if the roles were reversed when they're playing a Western game, but they don't understand it, but they don't have the support that the native speakers would have, you know?
Okay, but like imagine a Chinese kid buying a copy of Veilguard. What do you think their reaction is gonna be to that shit?
This game is weird.
Are we supposed to then say, oh, Dragon Age Veilguard game came out, but it's Western? Ew. It's just stupid.
Yeah, a good game is a good game regardless of
And bad
origin.
game is a bad game.
Starwin says Marvel Rivals is a Chinese game and tons of people still play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Marvel Rivals did dip in popularity. I think it just settling into its audience.
Yeah, now they gotta do is just maintain it. Sad Ant says, coming from a Spanish native, I play games in English while not knowing it, still managed to play and have fun. Also, unironically, helped me learn English.
I
Yeah.
was in the same situation. I went into games not knowing English, and I actually learned most of my English from playing games. Funny enough. So as far as I wanted to say, so like with the whole rhetoric, you Chinese, gotcha games Chinese, racking in billions globally. Now they're going into Souls-like games as well. I mean, China. There's a lot of also upcoming Souls-like games. They already released quite a few Souls-like games already. People are loving it. Some of them are having performance issues there. Now Billy are publishing games as well, like Escape from Darkov.
They have been releasing games here and there, but they haven't been very huge. They're upping the ante for sure.
But now on top of that, we have Marvel Rivals, which is also Chinese. I think what we're seeing right now is like two parallels happening, right? So we have one parallel where they think they can push like agendas and teach you how to be like a better person, and like all these remakes and republishings of old beloved IP where the new creators think they know better than the original creator. So all of those things are flopping. And then you have China. Gotcha games. Jiggle boobies, cutesy aesthetic, cute, right? Then you have monkey with a stick, awesome. Return to monkey, bonk shit. Then you have, oh, I'm a ducky with a gun. You see the difference, right? One is there to morale police you and act like they're better. The other ones just have fun. Be a monkey with a stick. Be a ducky with a gun. Look at anime booba. Which one would you pick? I don't know. I would go with the Chinese side. Lifu, did you think Korean and Chinese games become more popular than Japanese games? I never even a second in my life sat down and thought about it because to me it doesn't matter. I'm a consumer of a game. I don't care where the game is from. I only care to have fun.
Out that its players are mostly American, I have always been of the mind that players are players regardless of where they live, which means success is success no matter
Exactly.
where it happens. And right now, we are seeing the exact same thing with Escape from Duckov. The media has largely ignored the game, and the only article that I could find that was actually covering the game in any real way came from PC Gamer in an article that was titled, Escape from Duckov is the latest breakout Steam hit to owe its success to China.
To owe its success to China. Like, I swear to God, I really hope every single quote unquote gaming journalist outlet, like PC Gamer, Kotaku, gets shut down. They're so useless. They're so pointless. They have no point of existence at this point. The only thing they do is write positive reviews to whoever gives them the most money and do backhanded compliments on games that didn't give them money. That's it.
Now, to be clear, I'm not taking any issue with Lauren's coverage of the game itself. It's just how she's framing it. She ends the article by saying that it's good, that she hopes more people discover it so she has more people to talk about it with. And then she even points out that the game is more than just a meme, but she spends the entire article trying to prove that the game is only popular in China, monitoring when
So automatically by this, so the whole article is this. Since its launch this week, most of Escape of Duckov players are in China. You can clearly spot that its player count spikes in the evenings for China's time zone. Like, if this is the whole article and she adds one sentence at the end of the article that the game is good, this is not a review. This is diminishing the accomplishment of a game. This is not what a game journalist is supposed to do. Just tell people if the game is good. Tell people if the game is fun.
player counts dip to try to match them with Chinese time zones, comparing other Eastern hits like Naraka Blade.
They're going full Sherlock Holmes with time zones and researching dips just to get a high ground on whatever fucking purpose they need. It doesn't make sense.
Point in Delta Force and pinpointing the disparity between reviews with 23,000 in English versus 240,000 in simplified Chinese. This is the stuff that drives me up the wall. Why does this even matter? Because even
Yeah, because it's stupid. Like, Legendary Drop is not the only person who feels genuinely exhausted by this. Like, what's the point of continuing doing this? Like, why are they acting like that? Like, you're a game journalist. Review the fucking game and the rest shut the fuck up. I don't remember who said it, but I heard the Game Journal are failed political journals that ended working in the game industry. I think everyone by this point is saying that. I think it's like a unanimous agreement on that.
if those numbers are true, even if the game is primarily being played in China, what difference does it make? Why does it make it less relevant to you? There are still
Because they think Chinese gamers are not equal and not as worth. That's what they're saying.
hundreds of thousands of people that are choosing to buy a weird low-budget single-player extraction game.
Like I said earlier, a game is a game and a gamer is a gamer. It doesn't matter where it's from. It doesn't matter where the person is from.
Over the so-called biggest releases this year. That is not a regional anomaly. That is proof of demand, the same proof that we've been seeing everywhere. People wanting cheaper games that actually respect their time. When these Western outlets are framing games and framing success like this, it almost feels like they're just trying to rationalize it away. Oh, it's just China. That's what it is. Like that somehow makes it less legitimate, less applicable, or less reflective of what players want. Look at the Steam charts.
Or like better yet, people who go, is the game from the CCP? But at the same breath, they'll complain a bit about gaming journals who are too political in their reviews. Motherfucker, you're doing the same thing. I didn't know that the CCP is doing video games now. Whoa, like color me impressed. Communism leveled up, right? But you're doing like the same thing. You're accusing game journals of being too political when it comes to games, but then you bring in politics into a game. Shut the fuck up and play a game. If people are there to talk about video games and you come in with the same energy as the game journals, you're on the same level of the game journals.
There's no border on that list. There's no number that's being labeled by nationality. They're just labeled as players. And every single one of those players is a part of the same ecosystem, buying from the same store, leaving the same reviews, contributing to the same momentum. So the question here isn't why are these games doing well in China, it's why are they only doing well in China first? Why are Western players and journalists so slow to recognize and signal boost the appeal of some of these games until they've already gone global? This is not a cultural divide. This is a fake one. It's an industry that is so obsessed with marketing cycles and manufactured prestige that it can't even recognize a genuine hit when it's right in front of them. It does not matter where these players are coming from because the impact of these games doesn't stay contained. When hundreds of thousands of players start playing something in China, well, it doesn't just exist in a bubble. It floods into the global ecosystem. It shows up on the Steam charts, on trending pages, and
Does anyone remember like the good old days when there were like game reviewers and they were able to predict what game will end up becoming popular? Does anyone else remember those times? These days, even if a game is popular, the game journalists will not even see it.
recommendation algorithms. Western players see it climbing, they get curious, they check out the clips, and suddenly it's on everybody's radar. That's how modern discovery works now. Every game that blows up in one region automatically becomes visible everywhere else. And I think that's what makes the story so unique, and it's something that this industry has completely slept on, and it's how Duckov managed to be able to pull this off without any marketing whatsoever in the West. Black Myth Wukong, that game was heavily promoted. It was featured in showcases, plastered across social media. Duckov, on the other hand, did nothing. No ads, no influencer.
Yeah, but with Black Myth Wukong, they also had a whole smear campaign by the Western gaming journalists happening. Escape from Duckov is different from Black Myth Wukong because Black Myth Wukong did have a lot of like those high quality like cinematics to it and all that stuff. Escape from Duckov, I honestly I don't know the reason why they would not showcase it anywhere. Especially we had like the indie showcases happening. None of that was there. Like Escape from Duckov wasn't there. All those like up and coming indie games videos that I watched, none of them included them this game either. Like that's why it kind of feels like Escape from Duckov came out of nowhere. Because yeah, like there wasn't really a lot of coverage before it came out and right when it came out.
Campaigns, no early access builds sent to creators. Its virality came entirely from Steam, from word of mouth, from player to player, from people seeing it on the charts. It's one of the purest cases of organic discovery that we've seen in years. What's weirder still is how few people are even talking about that. Outside of PC Gamer, most outlets are entirely focused on Outer Worlds 2 or a handful of Western releases, as if the most interesting story isn't the 5%.
And how are their clicks with covering Outer Worlds 2? A game that people genuinely don't give a fuck about. Gaming journals are already struggling with bringing in traffic into website. That's why the layoffs are happening. And they're concentrating on more slop that no one's interested in over stuff that people are actually interested in. They're kind of playing themselves. And they don't get to complain about the layoffs later on when they're the ones contributing to the layoffs. By simply not being able to generate the traffic, which the traffic is generating income for them as well. Western journalists' article on a game be something like Expedition 33 and how reflect the patriarchy. Dude, I fell asleep when you were playing Outer Worlds 2, the interactive movie. Dude, the game is so fucking boring. I almost fell asleep. I was planning to stream it for 8 hours, what I do with new game releases. I had to end it after 6 hours because I was falling asleep. I was falling asleep on my own fucking stream.
An indie project that's suddenly climbing into Steam's global top 5. You would think that that's the kind of story that games media would jump on immediately. A small team, a wild concept, a game that's less than $20, and suddenly it's a global breakout hit, but instead they've completely ignored it. Maybe because it just doesn't fit into the narrative that they've built around what success is supposed to look like in this industry. I just feel like these are the kind of games and the kind of stories that actually matter right now, not just for the players, just so they can find more affordable ways to play, but also for the industry itself. It shows that originality and value can still win. They prove that success doesn't have to come from a $300 million budget or insane marketing. Covering
Success can come just from having a fun game. Easy. Easy.
games like this matters, not just so players can find them, but also so developers can see these games, so they can recognize that there are other avenues of success, other audiences worth serving, instead of endlessly chasing after the next battle royale, Souls-like, or open world game. We can all see how obsessed the industry has become with extraction shooters, but the irony is it took a 5-person indie team to do something new with that formula, to take it single player, to make it unique, more accessible, and make it more fun, and it works. It's just so satisfying, even for hardcore players, but also still keeping it approachable for anybody to be able to pick up. Meanwhile, we have every publisher right now gearing up to drop their own multiplayer extraction shooter at almost the exact same time. Marathon, Arc Raiders, and I just counted another 8 or 9 others that are waiting in the wings right now, all racing towards a market that likely isn't big enough for even one of them to succeed. Maybe I'm just projecting here, but I really do feel like audiences are the ones that are being ignored in all this. Single player audiences, and most
No, he's absolutely not projecting. There definitely such a thing as audience bias happening, and the audience in this case is being pushed away. I don't know if there's like a better way of putting it.
importantly, the people who actually have jobs and responsibilities outside of video games. I went back just to see how many games I had bought while I was still working in construction. I looked at 2023, the year that I lost my job, and I had bought 3 AAA games, kinda.
Oh, I remember watching his video when he was thanking his audience for making this like a reality for him to do a YouTube channel. I didn't know he started that because he was laid off from construction. Okay, honestly, a lot of respect.
Baldur's Gate 3 I had already owned because I'd got it in early access. The other one that I had on there was Phantom Liberty, which that was just a DLC. So really that was just 2 AAA games, Hogwarts Legacy and Armored Core 6. That's it. Those are the 4 games that I had the time and the money to be able to play while I was living life like a normal human being.
Even when he was a normie, he still got Hogwarts Legacy and enjoyed the frick out of it.
Alongside those, I bought 14 indie games, and those made up the majority of my playtime. Nearly everything that I had picked up was self-contained, single-player, and endlessly replayable, something that I could boot up and shut down at a moment's notice, because I never knew when I was going to get a free evening or how long that.
When I had back-to-back work, right, and a lot of meetings, and it basically working like morning to night, including the weekends, when I had my 9-to-5 job, the most game I played at that time, let me open my Steam, Idol Slayer, with 2.6 thousand hours. It's an idle game when I was a normie and I didn't have time to play games, but I still wanted to play games. And another 548 hours in Clicker Heroes. But to be fair, at that time, it was like, what, 2 years of having literally no time to sleep or anything. I didn't even have any time to actually sit down and play games. I think at that time, I did make free time to play Hogwarts Legacy. And I did make free time to play Dark Tide. That's actually kind of sad. Like, I'm looking at this. This is sad. Can we get a small violin for me over here?
That would last, and I think that that's the reality for most players today. People are not living inside these games anymore. They're living and fitting these games inside of their lives. What we're watching right now is an industry that's growing further and further out of touch with its audience and the audience that it's supposed to be serving, while these indie developers who are living the same lives as many of us and many players today are making games for themselves and by extension for everyone else. They're pricing these games for the average customer. They're building experiences that match real world schedules and real world limits. Meanwhile, the media is ignoring those trends because they don't fit that AAA news cycle. And these publishers are doubling down on their mistakes, sinking hundreds of millions of dollars into projects that the average person just can't afford, won't have the time to finish. And these games are being designed against their lifestyle instead of with it. Lifestyle games. Now, that's a topic for a future video. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the games industry has become obsessed with that, especially at a executive level. They've been trying to manifest the need into existence, believing that everybody wants these forever games, games that you can live inside, games.
No, No, stop it. Stop it. Also, speaking of stupid stuff, I found this on Netflix today when I was searching through what to watch. FYI, I ended up watching for the first time Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball. That was my first time watching it. I didn't understand it. I thought it was kind of stupid, but that's beside the point. But when I was searching through it, I found this out. When you search through genres, you have, the typical stuff: action, anime, classic, comedy, cult, kids and family, LGBTQ, sports, sci-fi, and movies based on your zodiac watch list. Can someone explain this to me? The fuck do they mean, zodiac watch list? Anyway, just wanted to point out while we're speaking about stupid things.
It become your lifestyle, but when 60% of your audience is working adults, well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense now, does it? It really does upset me that a lot of these Eastern games do not get a fair shake from the media in general, from the industry in general, because it does a lot of harm. It makes it where we have a harder time finding great games. It makes it more difficult for us to find more affordable games, but it also makes it where their issues in some of these games are not being discussed on a global scale. It means that these developers are not able to see these games, learn from their mistakes and their successes. And I think a lot of it just comes from a lack of access. These guys don't like having a lack of access, and China really does not like the way that the media likes to frame things. And, well, the media does not like that. I can see Escape from Duckov doing really well. I can see it continuing its success from where it is right now. I mean, the game has continued to hit highs basically every single day for the last week.
Basically, games shouldn't be made as forever games since that's forcing it. Well, the studios have no business deciding what's a forever game. You know who decides what's a forever game? The audience. The audience decides how long the longevity of a game is supposed to be.
Or so. And if it does continue to do that, and it does break into some of the Western audiences, I think that they have solid proof here, solid proof of concept that people might have this whole extraction shooter thing, the entire formula, wrong. And maybe it actually works better in a situation like this, where it's a single player focused game, and that's where it stays. Now, I definitely could see it breaching outside of that, maybe bringing in some PvP.
I mean, he's coming from a perspective of he likes the PvE versions of games and he likes the single player versions of games. But there are a lot of competitive people who love the PvP aspect of games, and they love the competitiveness and like feeling like you're better than others. Me and Zen are people like that. We love the PvP aspects of games. So from our aspect, it's the same thing though. Even like when it's a PvP game, it doesn't mean it's automatically good. There's a lot of PvP games that absolutely suck. Like, I mean, look at Concord. I mean, don't look at Concord. It doesn't exist anymore.
PvP elements on the side, something that is not required. Maybe it has some new loot or some exclusive loot that are in those PvP areas, giving players the option to go do those kind of things. I think that's where the future of live service really is. I think it's that blend of single player and multiplayer, but the multiplayer is always a option.
Yeah,
It's not.
no, I 100% agree with him here. I do think the best games are if you get an option of single player, or not even single player, if you get an option of PvE and PvP. I do think those games excel. Even though I do lean towards PvP, I do enjoy PvE games sometimes too, just to relax and enjoy it. And I do understand that most people are going to enjoy PvE over PvP. And I do think a lot of the games, that's where the future is for it. To have stuff as options and just optional things that just prolongs the longevity of a game.
Something that you're required to do. It's not the entire identity of the game. I like being able to do something on my own, and in some of these games,
Sería bueno poder llevar
What? Did it just randomly change language?
eso a una situación multijugador y potencialmente obtener
Is YouTube pranking me right now? Get the tech priest. Pray to the machine gods, brothers. Pray to the machine gods.
situation and potentially get more rewards or whatever it is. People do want to interact with other players, but in a lot of cases, they want to do it on their own time. You know, there's millions, there's probably billions of dollars at this point that's riding on extraction shooters breaking into global audiences, and I just don't see it working just by the nature of those games. How quickly that floor and ceiling separate from one another when you have players that can only play a couple hours a week and you have players that can play every hour of the day. The other guys are never going to be able to catch up. If they get their wings clipped, they're probably out for the entire season or the entire wipe or whatever you're going to do for whatever your game is. And that's just going to drive people away. While it might be popular on a niche scale, it's definitely not going to be popular on a wide scale. I'll tell you that right now. I think Arc Raiders might have a chance. I like how they're trying to lean harder into making PvE more difficult. So then it's kind of driving players away from doing too much.
Well, Arc Raiders is doing pretty well. Let me pull it up. Arc Raiders is doing pretty well, like quite genuinely. They play us right now 259,000. 24-hour peak 328,000. Today they literally had the highest. Like, hold on. Yeah, like Arc Raiders is doing really well, really well. Especially considering it's a pay-to-play game,
Yeah, it's doing pretty good.
a $40 game, and it's bringing in these numbers.
PvP because that's too much of a risk. It's making people allies more than enemies in some cases. I've experienced that myself when I've played some of their playtests, and I've seen other people have a similar experience as well. But I still think that like streamer culture and people trying to make a career out of their gameplay is going to still drive that PvP element of it and just ruin it for any.
Listen. While I am a content creator who's a huge fangirl of PvP, in no shape or form do I think PvP should overtake PvE. And I don't know why I'm getting so defensive, but I feel personally called out.
Any casual player. So we'll see. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys
I didn't. No, I did not. He personally called me out. I'm gonna have a parasocial hate boner now. I'm sorry. But no. It was a great video. Me and Zen always look forward to his videos, and Zen really likes his videos too. This was definitely a fun watch, and I think there's a lot to think about. Why are they pushing so hard? And by them, I mean gaming journals. Why are they so hard pushing the narration of it's a good game, but it's in China?
I'm spinning in circles like a crooked thread. Dance with the chaos inside my head. I'm bouncing off walls, can't find my feet. Stumbling round in a world so sweet. The world's a carnival, a funny parade. I'm laughing through tears in a bright masquerade. Strange colors blur, but I'm still in the game. Juggling dreams, but none feel the same. Bouncing on clouds.